Okay, we are live. Okay, welcome to Braid Girls, everybody. Today we have Krista from Go for Green Living, and we are going to be doing a kind of an extensive collaboration with them at the beginning of July, which we'll talk about later. But first, I'm going to let Krista kind of introduce herself to you. Today we're going to be talking about herbs, and I'm really excited about that. It'll be super fun. So Krista, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
I'm Krista. I'm part of Go for Green Living. I'm Daniel's wife, and I'm really glad to be here today.
Yes, and we're excited to have you. So what is your channel about?
Well, Daniel's pretty much did a lot of our YouTube videos so far. I've kind of been a little private. He's done a lot of aquaponics, a lot of plants in our greenhouse, and our cob house, and a little bit and homesteading. We're completely off the grid. We have solar panels. So he's added a little bit of our struggle there. So.
Well, that sounds awesome. It sounds like you guys are super busy. Okay, so today, when I asked Krista what it is she wanted to talk about, because we were going to have her come on Braid Girls as kind of an introduction to the collaboration we're doing later, but I wanted Krista to come on and tell about herself and what she cares about the most on her homestead that's kind of special to her. And so we were talking about medicinal herbs and the way that we use them in our homestead. And I would like to stress, first and foremost, always do your own research. Always test any kind of herbs out on yourself before you give them to your children. And before you ever test them on yourself, it might not be a bad idea to consult an expert. And to, for me, I will rub something on my wrist before I ever ingest it, because a lot of time this is very sensitive skin, and it can tell you if you're at least allergic to it, but there are toxic things out there. And so both of us, for our own families, have done a lot of research. And so everything that we give you here is for our own personal family use, and not for you to be taking and just gospel doctrining into your own family. So Krista, do you want to tell us how you got started in herbs?
Well, when Daniel and I first got married, we had the homestead is all we have. We didn't, neither one of us worked. We completely survived off the homestead. The homestead was all we had. So we didn't have money for doctors and all that. And the more I studied, the more I just didn't want to go to the doctor. So I'm a nurturer, and that was my first thing. It was in my nature. It was where I started from the very beginning.
And what kinds of herbs? Just a second. Is there somebody playing a guitar in the background?
And I'm sorry.
It's sounding like a weird kind of mechanical sound, but any other sound in your surrounding area will also pick up.
We got it taken care of.
Okay, good deal. Okay, so what herbs do you use in your homestead?
I use a little bit of this and that. I get wild herbs, and I get herbs that I grow. And then I even add in some homeopathic remedies. So there's a lot. I just do a lot of research, and anything that I feel that I have at my fingertips that can help me, I try to use it. Now, as far as tinctures scare me. I use them for me and Daniel, but I will not use them for my daughter.
Is that because of the alcohol or because of the herbs?
Well, a little bit of both. Anna has a lot of allergic reactions to outside allergies, and I'm very cautious. I do more teas with her. Mm-hmm. And steam baths and stuff like that than anything. I use colloidal silver with her. I do give her kombucha, but it's only like 5 ml at a time. Stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I know that for me, when I first started out, I knew how to use mint. And the reason that I wanted to get into herbs was that I was taking mullein at the time that we moved to this homestead. I was taking mullein in capsules. And I heard somebody talking about a weed that was bothering them that was called mullein. I'm like, what? Can we grow mullein around here? And I went and I did my research, and I found out that in most places in the United States, mullein grows wild, even in really alkaline, dry soils. We have tons of mullein in our backyard. And that was when I started to look around, and I'm like, I am paying $35 a bottle for this powdered mullein. And what mullein does is it's a lymph drainer. It drains your lymph. So if you're having a lot of congestion from seasonal allergies or from just a respiratory infection and things like that, it allows your lymph to drain. And I, at the time, was eating some foods that I was allergic to that I didn't know I was allergic to. And the mullein allowed me to not have the pressure headaches because it was draining my lymph. But it was $35 a bottle, and I was taking like 12 capsules a day in order to stay on top of it. And for me, Benadryl hadn't worked. Any kind of like antihistamine was making me sick. It was making my kidneys hurt. And so I went and did research to say, okay, is there a certain kind of mullein that's safer than another? Can I just go out and pick it? What time of the year do I pick it? And this was my savior in this. Horizon herbs. Now they're called strictly medicinal herbs. But the catalog itself that comes with these seeds is like a seed. It's like a seed wisdom or an herb seed wisdom. So it's huge. It's this library, and even in the catalog they tell you how to plant it, and then they tell you how to use it just right in the catalog. And so for me, the mullein had worked so well for me in my family that I'm like, oh my goodness, are there other plants out there that would work as effectively as this mullein has worked for us? And so the first few years, I kind of botched it a little bit. I spent a lot of money getting things that wouldn't survive on our property. And at the time, we didn't have car debt. We didn't have any other kind of debt besides our mortgage. And so I was spending all this money. And then the farm got more expensive, and I'm like, I need to smarten up a little bit. I'm spreading myself too thin with all these herbs. I need to focus down on just the things that will naturally grow in my environment without being babied, that my family actually needs. So instead of going out and buying all the seeds in the world and trying to grow them for all the complaints that none of us had, instead I said, okay, my family struggles with lymph drainage. My family struggles with respiratory problems. And my family occasionally are sore and tender from working outside. And so I went through their catalog and ordered everything that would survive in my area. And I tested it all. I planted it all. I said, what wants to live here? And is there anything that I can grow with it that will complement it? And that's been how we do it. So what specific kinds of plants do you grow?
The mullein grows here, and I actually use it for ear infections. I mix it with olive oil, and then I get a dropper and I use it. But I use wild mint. I use wild golf fennel. It's great for allergies. These are some wild herbs that I use. I use sourwood. Sourwood's really good for my fever reducer. I make my own natural fever reducer for Anna, but it's a tea. It would be stronger as a tincture, but it works just fine as a tea. I use prickly ash and yellow root. Everyone in my surrounding area knows now that if they have an abscessed tooth, call Krista. They come and get prickly ash and yellow root. And what the prickly ash does is it takes away the pain from the abscess or whatever's hurting you in your mouth. And then the yellow root detoxes the system, so it gets the infection completely out of your system.
Well, and don't you think that's important to know your local sources? It's one thing to have herbs on the shelf, but the longer they're on the shelf, the less viability they have. And so I know that with our mullein and the other things that we use, the fresh plant, like you said, or we'll take the fresh plant, we'll dry it ourselves, and we'll make it into a tea. But I find that the stuff that's at the health food store, I might as well not take it. I don't know if it's because it's old or if it's because of the soil that it was grown in, but the stuff at the health food store that's the bulk herb doesn't work.
Yeah, I've only bought maybe 1 or 2 things from the health food store, and then I just quit. I talked to we have Indians and other herbalists around us, and the first thing I do is I call them, and most of the time they have herbs on hand if I don't have it, and it's even cheaper than the health food store and better.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about if you don't have it growing in your own garden, you need to know somebody that's growing it in theirs. And I know where we are, nobody grows herbs. It's like they'll put in a vegetable garden, but the first things that I planted in my greenhouse were my perennial herbs. I wanted them to come up as early as they could. I wanted a safe environment for them because we have a very harsh environment outside of the greenhouse and things rarely overwinter. By having them in the greenhouse, I can take cuttings from them. I can separate them out and move them to a more, as my soil gets better, I can move them to a different place so that now they're wild there. But to always have the mother plant in my greenhouse as my starter, because seeds get expensive. I mean, in our area, you have to buy seeds because nobody grows them. Nobody grows them. And have you found that? Have you been able to actually grow herbs in your garden, or is your wild herb understory strong enough where you live that you can pretty much just go out and always know that you'll find it out in your area?
Well, we grow a lot of herbs, but I also have incorporated wild herbs because there was herbs that I wanted for certain reasons, and we couldn't get them and keep them alive. It was hard. So I found other things to substitute for what I needed.
And that's what we've done too. And there's so many out there. It's not like you're just limited. If you can't grow yarrow in your area for whatever reason, you can find maybe a combination of other herbs that will do the same thing as yarrow. And you talked earlier about homeopathics, and so I have a list of other things I kind of wanted to talk about that were equally good resources. And again, being educated about it is the most important thing. Like, you're careful not to give tinctures to your daughter because you're the mama, you know what she's sensitive to. And I don't like to take tinctures or give tinctures because my family is sensitive to alcohol. And so we do the same thing. We do a lot of teas. But for people who are really big into herbal home remedies, Dr. Christopher, let's see if I can not shine in your face. Dr. Christopher, he's known as being like the shiznit of herbalists as far as what combinations to put together for specific illnesses and creams and how to break a fever without using Tylenol. And he talks a lot about how a lot of times the illnesses in our body are things that need to move through our body in order to strengthen our immune system. For instance, he believes that fevers are a good thing. He believes dry fevers are a bad thing, wet fevers are a good thing, because it allows us to burn off a lot of toxins in our system, especially children. And so don't take my word for it, read the book. But he believes in having kids sweat out a fever by putting them in a hot tub and wrapping them and letting them sweat it out. And he believed that a lot of the childhood cancers and more serious like autoimmune problems are actually because we don't allow our children to go through a strong fever. Now, I've never tried that with my kids. I would like to try it with my kids, but I have never done that, and just know that high fevers can cause life-threatening problems. But as far as research, I think he is a really excellent source. He has some pretty in-depth things in here. And then homeopathics, she talked about homeopathics. My mom sent me a homeopathics first aid for animals, but you can do homeopathics. Let's see, I'll see if I can find my mom gave us homeopathics, and she has a kit of homeopathics for different symptoms. The girls were really sick last year with a particular really, really scary fever, cough, throwing up combination. We just couldn't get them better. And my mom gave us homeopathics for it that were specific for their symptoms. And within a few hours, their color had stopped being gray. We had taken them to the doctor, and the doctor said that, there's not really much we can do. And they did put him on antibiotics because we were scared enough to put him on antibiotics. But it wasn't until we gave him the homeopathics that they pulled out of it. And then let's see if I have any in here. And then for me, essential oils are a big deal. I'm not as knowledgeable about essential oils as I am about herbs, but I do believe that they have some really amazing properties that are really, really strong. I don't think you should take them all day, every day, and bathe yourself in essential oils, but I do believe that they can be used as medicine. Do you have experience with any of those things?
Yes. Here is my homeopathic. I have a hard time. The Survivalist is called the Trading Post in the Woods. Mm-hmm. It's a $375 kit, but it's very good. She has a fever reducer in here, cough, asthma. There's all kinds of good things in here. This is her cough and asthma. Mm-hmm. You can tell I use it a lot. The fever and infection. There's one I really want to talk about, though. Talking about the prepper side of things, she has something in her kit called Just In Case. And it's for snake bites or rabies. It has all the anti-venom and stuff in there. I believe they've gone up on the price. When I got it, it was $29. And the FDA tends to take stuff like this off the shelf. They don't want us to have stuff for snake bites. They want us to run to the hospital every time we need something. So that is very good. The FDA has approved it and says that it works. There's a couple other home remedies that we have in case of an emergency. The grid goes down or whatever.
And what about essential oils? Do you have any essential oils that you keep on hand?
Deep Blue essential oil is big for me.
Yeah.
I use it for fever. I use it for colds. Anna has cerebral palsy in her left foot, and I use it for that too.
Well,
there's tons
do you want to tell them what company that's with? Because some people might not know that that's a special blend.
doTERRA Deep Blue.
Yeah. I know for our family, we swear by tea tree oil. If we get any kind of cut or scratch that starts to get red and acts like it wants to like close over before it heals, we will repuncture it, put tea tree oil on it, and keep tea tree oil on it. And let's see, what are some of the others that we really like? I really like doTERRA and I like their blends, but as far as like medicinal, the one that I absolutely cannot live without is what is it called? It's the antiviral one. It's orange. Darn it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's the one that you can take it as a capsule. And I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot trying to remember what it's called. It's orange. On Guard. It's On Guard.
On Guard, right? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
On Guard. You can take it and use it on your hands, or you can take it internally. And for me, I have a chronic sore throat if I get overly tired and I get exhausted and have to sleep a lot. But if I will take the On Guard internally, then whatever virus it is that does that to me goes away. And so when we're in the middle of cold and flu season, if we've been around a lot of people, then I will take it as a preventative. 1 capsule for each person, only if we're going out in public, because we tend to be really sensitive to get that kind of thing. Again, don't take it if you don't know that it's not going to make your family sick. Please don't take anything that we're saying unless you've done your own research. So for me, it's like you said, the Deep Blue. I love the Deep Blue for breathing, and also Breathe, On Guard, and tea tree oil. Those are the 4 that I really can't live without.
We use tea tree oil.
You use tea tree oil?
Mm-hmm. I actually even use it to remove ticks.
Oh, that's a good idea. I wonder if that has makes a difference in the Lyme's disease.
They seem to let go of it a lot more.
Do they?
Anna, And also, Anna has a when ants bite her or when chiggers bite her, her skin doesn't react normally. So I use a little bit of tea tree oil, and it seems to do much better with that. What else do we use? Tea tree oil, deep blue. I use a lot to season our homemade soaps and stuff like that. My oils are limited. I use more of the plants and the homeopathics than anything.
Yeah, that's what we do too. I feel like sometimes the essential oils can be a little strong, or I don't know. I think there's something really soothing about a tea. I think it clears your lymph because and you're drinking more fluids because of it. I know that has to make a difference. And the steam from it when you're drinking the warm liquids, for us, I do. We prefer to take it in a tea because then we're also getting hydrated. And I just think there's something different about taking it in that form. Not necessarily fresh, but in the tea, you know, I think it makes a difference. Okay, so is there anything else we want to talk about herbally? We've talked about all of our sources. Did Daniel want to come on and we'll talk about the collaboration now?
As I knock everything down. Hey.
Okay, so this is your baby. Do you want to get up nice and close to the mic and tell us about what we're going to be doing on the 5th?
Well, I thought it would be fun to, I've been watching a lot of preppers and homesteaders, and I see a lot of similarities, but I see a lot of big differences. And I thought it would be fun to get a perspective from a bunch of different people's opinion on the difference between homesteaders and preppers. And so that's where it's at right now. And I asked you and you said yes, and so it just followed in chain. We got a chain of people that are going to do it, and I'm really interested to find out what everybody has to say.
Well, and we also have Doug and Stacy from Doug and Stacy Offgrid. You know, they started out as such a simple channel name, and now it's Offgrid with Doug and Stacy. And I always link back to Growing in Faith Farms. Yeah. So we also have Doug and Stacy, and it's going to be kind of a round robin, right?
Yes. And
so so I don't have questions directed to me initially. I'm asking you 2 questions. Is that correct, or is everybody's questions coming at me as I'm on the first show?
Well, you're on the first show. I'm trying to get everybody to get 2 questions together for you, something they would want to know about your specific homestead and your opinion. And so you'll have 2 questions. They'll just come from everybody.
Okay.
And then you'll ask me 2 questions because I'm right behind you. And then we had somebody in the next slot, but we're going to have to fill in with somebody else. But then it'll be Doug and Stacy and Big Bear Homestead, Permaculture Homestead, On the Road. What is it? Road to the Farm. Yeah. Bluegrass Bound. So we got a nice list that's doing it.
That's exciting. I'm excited about all that. So that will be on the 5th, and it will be a big deal, and it'll be super fun, and I think we will all learn so much from it. Now, I did want to ask a little bit, because I don't know why I didn't realize you guys were off grid, but I didn't realize it. So how did you guys come to be off grid with everything that you're doing?
Well, I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been a member of 2 different homesteading communities. You know, I started in '96 and found out it's best just to be by yourself, you know, because there ain't so much politics and so much bullying and all this kind of stuff. I'll do a video about that one day, but you know, but yeah, so I started from then. It just, the world was just, I was living in Georgia, building houses, and a tragedy hit me, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. So I gave up and moved to Alabama. I drove till I couldn't find a city anymore, and I said, okay, this is it. Let me try to buy some land, and that's what I've been doing ever since. Is trying to homestead, and that's where we're at.
When we got married, we both decided we didn't want to be attached to the power grid anymore. We wanted to make our own medicine, supply our own food, and so he couldn't do it all by himself. When we got married, we really hit the floor running. It's been amazing what we've got done in 3 years.
It is kind of that extensive plan, though, isn't it? It's not something that happens overnight. It feels like if you can be debt free when you get into it and stay debt free as best you can and move forward and just stick with it, eventually it comes. But it is a matter of years and not like instant gratification. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, years. And if I have a bad crop, you're like, okay, I'll get it next year. So, you know, it's practice, and you need to be practicing. You know, it's practice homesteading. So instead of practicing physician, it's practicing homesteading.
So what is your income stream there, as far as like, how do you make your money, or how do you conserve your money to be able to make it so that if one crop fails, another crop, you know, what is your income stream there on your homestead?
Well, we do a lot of shows, and we teach a lot about homesteading, but we also sell our sun-dried tomatoes. We sun-dry about 4,000 pounds of sun-dried tomatoes each year, and we sell them locally, but we just realized, hey, we can offer them to the internet community too. So we dry a lot of herbs. So it's our greenhouse, the big greenhouse really provides most of our income for us, you know, what the work we get done in there. And we'll sell tilapia, full-grown tilapia, and, you know, to other hobbyists. And if somebody just wants a big fish dinner, we'll sell them one for that too, you know. So, but we'd like to get more of a barter thing going. So, you know, just it's more reliable, you know, somebody can trade you something a lot easier than go get some money to. But we really started this to try to help as much as we could, and we're doing it pretty good. I mean,
we want to feed people healthy food. We don't want them to be going to get the trash at the grocery store.
That's right. So let me ask you another question. I grew up in a family where my dad was intending for us to take over the farm when we grew up, and that we would split the property. And yet we found that the lifestyle and trying to collaborate and work together on this piece of land was difficult. So where you were talking before about living in an intentional community as a homesteader and talking about politics, I have found that 170% to be true. We are individuals who like to be in control and have responsibility for our own stuff. Anything besides that is kind of communism. Communism doesn't really have a tendency to work. It seems like our own selfish desires and wanting to be in control of our own property and our own lives is our best way to succeed, especially with homesteading. So is that what you found?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you wanted something done, it was a vote. Everybody voted. But if you wanted something done, you went to each individual person and you kind of did like a politician. Well, if you do this for, they were trying to get a porch on the front of my cabin, and I was going around to everybody and I was giving them fresh vegetables and stuff. I was like, y'all vote for my porch, please. I just want to put a little something out there so I can sit in the shade and all that kind of stuff. And actually, I got denied. So I was like, well, I think I give up on this. So I went to another community, and that turned out bad too. But I remember people walking around. This one guy, we called him Red Hot Man because he carried around boxes of little Red Hots, and he would be like, you'd hear him coming. He's like, giving you a box of Red Hots. You want some Red Hots? And then he would start talking to you about what agenda he had in mind for, you know, what he wanted the community to do or anything like that. So there you go.
I think that's unfortunate. There is so much to be gained from having a strong community and for being able to pool money together. But I think our human nature is such that we are so much better at looking out for ourselves than we are at looking out for other people. And that if it's not of value to me, I will let you give as much as you want to give. But when it comes to me giving to you, that may not become my priority. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that recognizing it and just saying, well, this is how it is. I do feel like I would like to do certain things, and thus I will have to be responsible to make sure that they get done. And pardon me. And so I feel like an extended community, like that's a neighborhood community, rather than everybody owning the same piece of property, is and then just blessing the people, like Krista was saying, blessing the people around you with your skills and with your garden and with the knowledge that you have. Eventually that community will come together of the people who are willing to work hard and support each other. And then, because it's a community rather than everybody on a single plot of land, you can just choose not to associate with the people who have shown that they don't have the integrity to work as hard as you do for the things that you care about. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, we know a lot of people like that. They got their hand out ready. Oh, you got fresh tomatoes? You know, last year we gave away. We grow a lot, so we gave away 400 pounds of tomatoes each week for 3.5 months, and gave away 4,000 heads of lettuce. And I was just standing out there, me and Anna standing out there in the road, just giving them away to anybody that wanted them.
There's only so much that you can put up, and lettuce, you can't store it. We don't have a freezer right now because we're on solar. So
right.
All you can do is give it away, you know?
Or get a pig. Lots of chickens, lots of geese, lots of pigs.
Well, we got lots of chickens, no pigs. So we only got an acre. So we tried them, but they stunk, and we couldn't find a place to put them that they didn't stink. So
yeah, I hear you. Well, so is there a place, do you have a website that people can go to if they're interested in buying your dried tomatoes or your herbs?
Well, we're setting that up right now.
Are you?
Truthfully, so yes. We were trying to do an Etsy store too.
And have decided to do a web page.
Yes. So
yeah.
Taking your advice, you know, we watch all your videos about that stuff. So you've really been an inspiration to us and Krista especially. I mean, her to be on camera is totally because of you, you know. So
well, I'm glad you would.
It's
just so much fun to meet people face to face rather than, you know, you recognize the emblem, but then you don't know who they are as a person, even though you get comments. So this kind of thing, even though it's kind of scary, Krista, you've done an amazing job, and this is so fun, I think. Well, anything else to add? We're about 1 minute away from our half-hour segment. Is there anything else mind-blowing that you want to share? Besides, I want to tell people, go check out their channel, because I hit and miss on my subscribers. Sometimes I don't see videos that come up. And now I know that I need to go and be watching more religiously their channel. If they have tilapia that they're growing and a big, enormous greenhouse and they're off-grid and they're making a living doing this, they're a huge resource. So it's Go for Green Living. And then as soon as they have their website up, and I have links, I will make sure to put that on the description in this channel or on this video. And then through our whole collaboration, we'll make sure to put people's links with their videos when we get the prepper versus homesteading collaboration up. So is there anything else you guys want to chime in?
Yes. Our YouTube channel, we have showed stuff on the homestead, but we're going to open up more broadly of what we do on the homestead. Some things we have kind of kept away from the internet doors, and we're going to start sharing.
Yeah.
That's good. I can't wait.
So, yeah. I've been just a little bit private, you know, so.
Well, I will be excited because it sounds like you guys are miles ahead of me. This is the first year that the second year that we've had our greenhouse. It's not huge. We're just growing for our own family. So the thought of seeing somebody who's also off grid in hot weather, I don't know how you're cooling your house if you're on, or cooling your greenhouse if you're, are you cooling your greenhouse with solar? Is that how you're doing it?
So passive heat. It's the way it's built, it cools itself. So it's kind of like a big triangle, and all the heat rises. You vent it out, let the cool air in the bottom, and the hot air goes out the top. So
have I seen this? Have you guys had it on your channel this whole time and I never saw it?
Yeah, it's on there, but it's one of our original videos, so it's way back there and it's not very good. So, but
Oh, you need to make some new ones. You need to make a ton of new ones. You guys just sound like a huge fountain of information, and I'm tingling to wait and see. I need to go check. But yes, make new videos, because I know that I have old videos where I cover information really well, but my camera work was horrible and my audio was horrible, and so I keep having to go back and remake them, and I keep thinking nobody will want to watch them, but they do.
yes, they do.
Yeah. We feel the same way.
Well, so I'm excited to see what you guys put out there. I would love to see daily videos from you guys, but I know that when you're off grid, it's hard to get an upload up every day. I know it made a huge difference in my channel, and on Brad from Big Family Homestead, it made a huge difference when he jumped to daily. But I know for a lot of people, that's just not a possibility, but it is always fun to see kind of that peek into somebody else's life rather than a once a month video, it seems like. But okay, anything else? Anything else we want to talk about?
We have been doing a daily video for over a month now. So
I wonder if I got unsubscribed. Have you guys found that if a video, for me, I have about 1,500 people I'm subscribed to, and so it's hard for all of them to fit in, and sometimes I actually get unsubscribed from them, so I need to go check because I haven't seen them. So yeah, I wonder if that's what happened. Say it again, Krista.
We've been doing a lot of cooking.
That happens to us too. It's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll just knock you right off, and you don't recognize that why they're not showing up, and you have to go resubscribe. It's kind of bizarre.
We've been doing a lot of cooking in the Adobe oven. I give the truth about solar, so that's a big controversy about that. But we live off of it every day. I know it, and I understand my system completely. So, you know, I'm just going to shoot it straight. You know,
which is appreciated. Sometimes you get that fairy dust in your eyes about how easy or how well something is going to work because everybody says it should work, and then nobody tells the downside of it or why it's not working. And people spend a ton of money on things that they shouldn't be spending money on, when a simpler system, like with your venting in your greenhouse that you were talking about, a simpler system is so much better than sometimes the commercialized off-grid methods are, it seems.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find alternatives so that you can be off-grid a little easier and still have a few comforts.
Yeah, it's nice to have hot running water. It's nice to have hot running water and running water, period. You know, those are some of the things that for the sake of being off grid, there is such a thing as just burning yourself out by not using some of the appropriate technology that's available to us now to live. We are living lighter on the planet, definitely, by what we're doing, but there is such amazing technology out there that you can use to make it so that you have the staying power, because there does get to a point where if you burn yourself out, you're not going to stay, and then what good did it do anybody?
That's right. Yeah, that was our #1 priority, is water.
Yeah.
And
because it's heavy.
Our method. Yes.
And it sucks to carry it. Oh, sorry. You know.
Yeah. Well, and if you have a greenhouse, say it again, Krista.
We've had our trials with having to get water back and forth. There was a period of time where we were having to heat up water to take baths. We were having to hold water to wash dishes, to wash clothes. Yeah, so that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's exhausting. When I was a teenager, we did that when I was growing up. And there was one person assigned to bring water to the house, and we had to drive it from one place to the next and then haul it in the house, and then you have to haul it out of the house. And it meant that one person's productivity was severely decreased by the fact that all they ever did was haul water. And you've got water to haul to a garden, and water to haul to animals, and water to haul for indoor, you know, for your in-home use. And you would be hopping all day long if you didn't have some kind of pump, you know, if nothing else, a pump on your home. But we were actually hauling it from a neighbor's, and so it was water is the one thing where I'm like appropriate technology, appropriate technology, appropriate technology. So, all right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
anything else?
No, that's good.
We're good?
We're
Okay. So yes. What was it, Krista?
We're good.
We're good? Okay. So everybody chime in here on my channel. We're going to start the Homestead versus Prepper collaboration on the 5th of July. And we'll have all those fun questions and links for everybody who'll be coming up behind us. And go check out Go for Green Living. Here, it's all one word, and it has a pretty little picture of a dove holding an olive leaf. I believe it's an olive leaf. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And so
Yes.
go find them, and I will put links below for everything. And we love you guys, and we'll talk to you later.